Welcome back to the His and Her Money Show with America's #1 money couple. I'm Talaat.
And I'm Tai, and we're from hisandhermoney.com, where we're managing money, marriage, and everything in between.
Welcome back to another fantastic episode of this show. We're excited to bring this story to you all because it's a story that needs to be heard. We're going to be talking with a young lady named Tina who did become debt-free, but she took a very unorthodox path, a path that she wouldn't have drawn out for herself to debt freedom. And we wanted to have her on because her story is so powerful that it will impact you for days, weeks, months, years to come.
That's right, guys. So let's take a look at her story.
Hey, Tina. Welcome to the His and Her Money Show.
Hello, Tina.
Hello. How are you?
We're doing excellent. We are glad to have you on the show because you're coming to today's show with an incredible story that's going to educate a lot of people on a topic that they usually shy away from. And it's a topic that needs the light actually shined on it. So we're super grateful for you to come on this show and share this incredible story with everybody. But before we get into your story, can you just take a moment and introduce yourself to everybody that's listening and let them know what you're all about?
So my name is Tina Murphy, and I am a single mom of 2 boys, one that is 12 and one that is 9. And I was a personal finance teacher for 16 years at a high school here in Missouri. And then I now work at the universities, one university where I tutor student athletes. And then at the other university, I teach personal finance for the college students. And I'm actually working now to become a certified financial counselor.
Awesome.
So now you have a story that you wanted to share with our audience about the importance of having life insurance. I mean, it hit pretty close to home for you. Can you tell our audience a little bit about your story?
Yes. So October of 2013, it was one of my favorite days. It was homecoming at my high school that I was teaching at, and I got a phone call from a neighbor that my husband, who was 40 at the time, had collapsed. He had actually been outside playing with my children, and they were playing soccer, and he just collapsed right in front of them. Luckily, the neighbors were outside, and they came and assisted with him. They called me when I was at the school, and by the time I had gotten to the hospital, he had already passed away. So it was a major shock because he was like 6'2", 160 pounds, worked out every single day, was healthy, and after about 3 months, we found out that he had an enlarged heart, and it was a condition that we didn't even know that he had. And so, yeah, went from being one of my favorite days to the absolute hardest day of my life.
Wow.
Sorry for your loss.
We're incredibly sorry for your loss, but I guess the
how do you say it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The light at the end of this tough tunnel that you and your children went through was the fact that prior to this situation, you all had the foresight to go ahead and purchase life insurance.
Yes. So one day, because my husband worked for an insurance company, and he was in talking with one of his agents, and he knew that we knew he had life insurance through his company, and a lot of businesses do provide you with life insurance. The school that I worked at provided life insurance, but 2 things you have to consider is, one, how much life insurance are they providing you with? And 2, what if you leave that job? So, his company provided him with a $100,000 life insurance policy. Mine was $10,000. And so, of course, I was at a school district, so schools can't provide as much as corporations. But even with my husband's company's life insurance, I mean, that's could be for some people like 1 year worth of salary. It could be 2 years for some people. So it really, you have to think like this has got to cover a long term. So his agent, our agent, and our friend, we bought additional life insurance for our family, and it was like $50 a month is what we paid for, and it's just made life more a little bearable. It's helped with the grieving process. I mean, no, money doesn't make it me happier, but it made it less stressful. Um, when you went from two family income and now I want to still maintain that lifestyle for my children and giving them what they need, it's just made life so much less stressful.
Tala and I, we preach to the rooftops that having life insurance is so, so, so very important. I mean, we talk about it all of the time. One of our favorite companies, Policy Genius, we love them. And hey, term life insurance is just very inexpensive right now. So we tell people, don't wait until something happens. You want to make sure that you prepare ahead of time. Now, paint the picture to our audience. If you and your husband did not take out that particular life insurance policy, how would your life be now?
Well, one of the things that I needed to do when he passed away is I worked in a town that was 30 minutes away. And so I would have either had to have moved my children to that town, which would have uprooted them additionally because you just lost your father. Now you have to lose your friends and family. And it's only 30 minutes away, but still it's a new school district. I would have had to have worked a full-time job, almost even two full-time jobs, just to maintain the lifestyle that we were doing. The good thing about it would have been a teacher. Teachers, we have that flexibility with summers off and everything, but I have been able to leave my full-time job to take on two part-time jobs that were more flexible with being a single mom. And, I take my kids to sporting events, and I can afford to have my kids in the sporting events that they would have been able to do if my husband were still alive, and still financially be able to do that without stressing myself out. My oldest both of my children have reading disabilities. So we struggle with reading. I wouldn't say a reading disability, but we struggle with reading. And so I have a tutor, and because I have the life insurance, I'm able to actually get them more support. So if I wouldn't have that, I would be struggling with their academics. I would be, working a full-time job, then having to come home and help my children with their homework on top of trying to get them to their activities. And there's just other benefits. I can have a tutor help them. I mean, it's different teaching other people versus then having to do your job all day long and then come home and teach your children. And, you have that parent-child struggle that they don't want to listen to you as well as they would a tutor or another teacher. So it's just, the money has helped. I will say this, I have not been very frugal with my money because if I wanted it, I bought it, and it's helped with my grief. I probably spent more money than I normally would have, but it covered up for the depressions and struggles that you're going with. And it's like, if something can make me happy right now, I probably will. So I think it's probably saved me from racking up a lot of debt from the grief. If I want to go eat, if I didn't want to come home after working all day, I would take the kids out for dinner. So I'm just going to go get dinner, and I don't have to worry. I didn't have to worry about all the stresses that come with money.
Now you've experienced this in real time in real life, but you've also taught in the area of personal finance for a number of years. Why do you think so many people shy away from or don't even investigate purchasing life insurance, especially those that are younger or 20s and 30s? Why do we avoid it?
No one wants to talk about death. No one wants to think about death happening. Um, some people, I don't sell it. I am not here to sell life insurance to anyone. And I just tell people, I'm like, do you have life insurance? And they're like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, do you have enough life insurance? Because again, my school provided me with life insurance. So it's like, oh yeah, I have it. Like $10,000. I'm like, to be honest, $10,000 is just going to pay for your funeral. And then you got nothing else. Whereas when we bought the extra stuff, we can plan for my kids' future. We can plan for their college. I don't have to sit and stress about, am I going to have money for my kids to go to college? Am I going to have money for them to eat? Am I going to have money for them to have entertainment? Other people, when I talk to them, they just don't want to think about it. And I have talked to family members, and I'm like, hey, have you thought about getting this? Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, okay. I mean, I, at this point, have purchased life insurance. I've purchased whole life insurance for my children, simply because this condition that my husband had with his heart, it could be inherited. So if they happen to develop the disease themselves, the heart condition, then they would be completely wiped out from ever being able to qualify. So because I know the benefits of it, I went ahead and bought them a whole life insurance for them at this age.
Policy Genius guarantees the best life insurance price for you and those you love. It's so simple to protect your family today in 5 easy steps. 1. Calculate quotes. 2. Compare companies. 3. Apply online. 4. Receive expert advice. And 5. Rest easy. It really is that simple. Calculate, compare, apply with Policy Genius. For more info, head on over to hisandhermoney.com/Policy Genius.
You know, for someone that may be listening right now, they may be saying that they don't even know where to start. How much life insurance should they purchase? I mean, when you and your husband were looking for insurance, did you all use a certain formula? Was it like 10 times your salary? What should people consider?
When we talked to our agent, they actually asked us, well, what would you want to pay for? What would you want to have covered? What would you want to do? So, for example, we knew that we wanted to be able to just pay off our house. So, that gives you need to know how much is your house and how much would that allow you to pay off? Do you want to pay for your kids' college? How much of that would you want to pay for? So, it has been, we purchased that about 12 years ago, so I don't really remember all of the questions he asked, but those were, kind of some big expenses that we wanted to be able to cover. And then, your agents will be able to help you kind of calculate what you would want to cover. But I will say you do want to ask what kind of deaths are covered, because not all life insurance companies will cover accidents. They will only cover natural deaths. So you do need to ask questions. It may be an inexpensive policy, but if your husband or spouse died in a car accident, that's not natural causes. You may not get paid. So when I have talked to people, I've talked to other agents, and they're like, wow, that's, something you want to think about when you buy stuff. So you do have to ask questions about what kind of deaths are covered.
Now, there's tons of spouses listening. One or the other is tuned in right now, and they're still on the fence. They've kind of heard your heart here today, but they still in their mind, they think they have time. That's something that they'll get to eventually. What would you say if you could be face to face with that particular person?
I never thought October 11th of 2013 was going to happen. I never thought the day that I drove away from my husband, I was going to get a phone call. I talked to him at 2 o'clock that afternoon, and I got the phone call at 4. I never expected to hear that he had collapsed. So you never know. I mean, time, you don't know what the next second is going to bring. And, you have to prepare for the worst. It's like, I would rather, Jamie it's always rather to be prepared and not need it than need it and not have it. And I am so grateful that he, purchased that for me, because the grief that you experience, it's unfathomable. And I have friends that are widows, and I see some of their struggles. And, you're struggling with depression. You're struggling with losing your best friend. You're struggling now that I have to be a single mom that takes care of everything, and now I've got to worry about finances on top of it. I mean, it's so much. And if you could alleviate one stress for your spouse, that's finances are it. Like, it's huge. I mean, on the year anniversary, it was awful. Like, every first was terrible. But to be able to, on the first, right after the first anniversary, we went on a cruise just to have some kind of enjoyment, have something to look forward to. It doesn't make everything better. I don't want to say that. It does not make everything better, but it helped.
Yeah, no, we definitely understand, especially when you have children. I mean, like you said, you were able to continue to keep your children in like different sports and, take them on trips. And I think that that's important. I recall when my mother-in-law, when my father-in-law passed, my mother-in-law, she was taken care of. Did she mourn? Yes. Does she grieve and miss her husband? Of course. But we don't even have to worry about her. She has a certain level of peace because she can pay the bills and she's not stressed. So we think that everybody should have life insurance. I don't care if you're a stay-at-home parent. You should have life insurance. It's very, very, very important.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, my husband was the cleaner of the house. He cleaned and he cooked. Yeah, so then all of a sudden, I hate cleaning, and I was able to get a housekeeper for a while because it was like, you're just so exhausted, and you're mentally and physically exhausted when you lose a spouse. And I mean, to be honest, it's been 3 years now, 3.5 years, and I think I'm finally able to emotionally not be so drained by the situation. So if I had the normal grief, the normal stresses of just being a thing, and then having to do finances on top of it, no. So there's nothing you can do when you pass away, but if you can just help leave something, a little bit of cushion, it would be helpful.
Yeah. Now, you've kind of described, how your husband and yourself's decision has been helpful to you, but you also kind of touched on briefly, other widows where the same measures were not put into place. Are you able to articulate a little bit for the audience what life could be like if they don't get the insurance that's necessary? Like some of the people that what are some of the things that they're dealing with because they didn't have it?
Well, I think when you're a single mom, I have the flexibility of working more part-time jobs, more flexible jobs, where they are still having to continue to work a full-time job and then having to run their kids around to their different activities. and then have to get up the next morning and go to start the process all over again. I mean, you having to cook and clean. And I mean, we know single parents, and so you're doing all of it. And now with me, I can go, okay, I can step back, take some jobs that aren't as stressful, that are more flexible with being a single parent, and just having that cushion to say, I don't have to stress about one more thing. And some of them are so stressed, they can't go and enjoy life. And I am about making memories and doing things. And they're like, well, we can't do that. We're not that they aren't doing things that are making them happy, but it's more stress on them.
Well, this has been incredible.
Yes.
We really appreciate you sharing your heart today. We know that everybody that's tuned in has heard your heart as well, and they're really reflecting and hopefully are on the verge of taking the necessary steps that they need to take in regards to acquiring life insurance. So we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to share this story with our audience today.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Wow, I mean,
Pretty
guys,
sad story,
we almost don't have the words.
Yeah, who can expect to lose their husband at such a young age? I mean, he was in good shape. He worked out and things like that. Nobody would have ever expected this, but she had life insurance in place. Life insurance didn't take away the pain of losing her husband, but it helped her in supporting her children so they can continue to, do things like play sports and things like that. So powerful, powerful story. I hope everyone that watched this episode looked at their own personal lives and said, you know what, do we have life insurance in place? You all, it's not difficult to get life insurance at all. And it's not expensive.
It's not expensive.
Whatsoever.
Stop telling yourself that.
It's not, you all. It's like pennies on the dollar. You could swap out a restaurant, eating out of the restaurant just to pay for life insurance so your family can be taken care of. Our good friends, Policy Genius, we absolutely love them, okay? They are honest. That's what I love about them the most. They're honest. They're trustworthy and dependable, okay? So all you have to do is just go to hisandhermoney.com/Policy Genius. Again, that's hisandhermoney.com/Policy Genius to start getting insurance today, okay? We'll leave a link in the description box below.
We know this is a tough topic, and nobody wants to talk about death. But you need to be financially responsible and forward-thinking because you just never
know, y'all. You never know. If you want to hear more stories of debt freedom, all you have to do is just go to our website, hisandhermoney.com, and there's more for you right there.
Well, that's all we got for this time, guys. It's been great. Until next time, peace.
Bye.